Hey, what's up, people? It's your boy H Money again with another sports rant. A couple of days ago, Mark Cuban made some comments about the NCAA and how the NCAA game was hurting the NBA. Okay, now as a diehard Spurs fan, I have no love for Mark Cuban, but I do respect the fact that he is not afraid to talk and state his opinion on controversial issues, no matter how bad he thinks people may take it. He's always speaking his mind. I can respect that in a man. And then when I first heard his comments on this issue, I have to say I partially agreed with him. But after thinking about it a little bit deeper, I'm not so sure. Let's take it. The first part one of the parts where he was talking about how boring the college game is as opposed to the NBA. Now, of course, if you're a big fan of the NBA, 24-second shot clock, one-on-one basketball, high energy, high scores. Yeah, it's a different animal when you go watch the college game. It's much slower, longer shot clock, 2-3 zones. So it's within a system, so it's more structured. So you don't see the exciting one-on-one game that you see in the NBA. So of course, yeah, it's a little bit less appealing in that sense, but. So if you're just a big NBA fan, you may not like the college game. I'm not going to understand it. But if you're a basketball fan, a basketball purist, you can appreciate that it's just different, okay? Because where NBA is more about the players, college is really about the coach, okay? That's where coaches get to shine because it's a structured system. It's a different type of game. And for me, I can appreciate it. Yeah, it's much more exciting to watch NBA games sometimes, but sometimes it can be the other way around. College games can get very intriguing because there's a lot more strategy that goes into it that you can observe on, beating the zone defense and whatnot, breaking the presses and things. So it's a different animal altogether, but you have to just appreciate it. But as far as just eye appeal, yes, it's not as exciting as watching an NBA game for the most part. So I understand where he's coming from there. But then when he goes on and he's talking about how that they're not preparing kids to play in the NBA because how different it is, running in these systems and the slower pace and everything. I don't agree with that. In some ways he may be a little right with that, but I think what we see a lot of is players that go to a certain college, play in a certain system, and they shine in that system. So what happens is we look at them and we think, oh, they're going to be a good NBA player. But then when they come to the NBA, they kind of wash out. It's because the system fit them and made them look better than they were. Okay? That's not... But then you have guys that, of course, Michael Jordan. I don't even have to start listing. We know all the superstars. But let's just say recently, like last year, Andrew Wiggins. He's one and done. He's going to be a good player. Because he is just that skilled. He's that great of a player. Of course, you can go back and you can look at guys that maybe come out of the Duke system. Danny Ferry, Bobby Hurley, Kyle Singler. They maybe haven't had great NBA careers. Mike Dunleavy Jr. So, is it because the NCAA is not preparing them? No, it's because they're just not as talented as somebody like an Andrew Wiggins. They don't have that raw athletic skill. But the system and the college game made them look great. It made them look better than they actually are. That's not the fault of the college game. That's not the fault of the college coaches. It's not the fault of the referees. So I think he's off there. I think it's just one of those things where, kind of like Tim Tebow. Tim Tebow is one of the greatest college quarterbacks of all time. But can it translate into the NFL? It didn't. I guess the jury can kind of still be out there if you listen to Skip Bayless. But I think it's pretty much done. He's not going to be an NFL quarterback. So it's kind of that same thing where you just get kind of fooled by, and it maybe when you look at those cases of guys that look great in a college system and then wash out in the NBA, then he has a point if you just base it on that. But then you see so many other guys that come in and then are superstars, okay? So it's not that they're not preparing. It's just that I think that some of these players aren't as talented as the systems make them look. And then... the refereeing is kind of bad. I will agree with him on that point. And I also think that it wouldn't hurt to shorten the shot clock. Pick up the pace a little bit. I don't think that would hurt at all. But then I want to look at... Okay, let's just take Coach K. Duke. He is in the business of winning games for Duke University. He is not getting paid by the NBA to prepare players to come play their game. Now, of course, college coaches care about their players. They would like to give them the tools to go be successful and have a long career in the NBA, but they're into winning games for their university within their system, okay? So you cannot fault them. You can't say that they're responsible. They're not thinking about the NBA. Also, when we look at what, it's valuable. You know, I was watching First Take. Skip, Stephen A. were gone yesterday. So you have Freddie, Scoop, and I can't remember the lady's name. But anyway, she was talking about that a young player can get more out of skipping college and going straight to the pros and playing 80 games with a professional team than going and playing a season with a college team. That again, you can't make that 100% sure all the time, because you got guys like Kobe, LeBron, Kevin Garnett that did it, and you got guys like Jonathan Bender, who else? I mean, just guys, Kwame Brown, guys that just washed out, that weren't mature enough, and they could have actually benefited from the structure of the college game to mature mentally and to mature as far as basketball, their basketball knowledge. So that's the thing, as far as making that quick jump, not all these young kids are prepared for the mental aspect of it. And I think that's what Mark Cuban is missing, is that what the structure of college life, of the college game, can do for these young men in preparing them mentally. So while he's seeing that it may be as far as the system is different they play in as opposed to what they're going to see in the NBA, they're not getting prepared in that manner. But you understand, they're growing as men, and that's huge. I can't remember the name of the kid that the Mavericks drafted straight out of high school some years back, and he never even played. I mean, he quit. You know, so you got to see that these kids aren't always ready. It's just kind of an individual thing. Some guys are ready right away, okay? But I think for the most part, I'll go to MJ, the greatest of all time. I mean, he went to North Carolina, and he has been quoted when been asked questions about this, that he thinks it is valuable for these kids to go to college, to learn the fundamentals of the game, to learn the discipline, that work ethic, and to mature before they go jump. You can't argue with the GOAT, you know what I'm saying? But let's look at MJ, okay? MJ didn't start winning championships until Phil Jackson came along with the triangle offense. Now, MJ was able to buy into it because he played under Dean Smith's system, and everybody always said how that held him back in college. But having that discipline, that experience of playing for that system and buying into it and being part of a structured program with a team concept, that experience is what made him be able to buy into what Phil Jackson was selling, that ultimately led to 6 rings. Okay, if he maybe hadn't had that experience, he might have bucked at it and jumped ship. You know, he might, I'm not down for this. Let me go find somewhere where I can be free and just be me. No, but that structure, that experience that he had at North Carolina, that maturity, it matured him enough to where he could understand, I've been under a great coach, I've been in a great system, so I know I can respect that and listen. And if you want to see the opposite, look at LeBron James. Never played college basketball, never played for a college coach in a structured system, and right now he has absolutely no respect for his coach. He is calling plays. So you can see where it can have value. So in some ways, it may hold players back, but if you're good enough like MJ was, when you make the jump, you'll adapt and you'll shine because you're just that good. But as far as the mental aspect of it, just preparing you, maturing you mentally, it's by far is preparing these guys for the NBA life. So I just think he's frustrated. He doesn't like watching the game. He's bored with it. That's fine. You can be bored with it. He makes a point with the shot clock. I think they could shorten that and improve the game, make it a little bit more appealing, more fast-paced. But I think he's off when he thinks about saying that it's not preparing these kids, that it's hurting them. You know, at first, like I said, because I was thinking of the Danny Ferrys of the world, the Kyle Singlers, but the list will go on. But that's just because, like I said, the system propped them up and made us think, oh, they're going to be great, and it wasn't so. But if you're a great talent, no matter what you do, whether it's high school ball, AAU ball, college ball, you're going to adapt because you're just that raw of a talent, and you will be a star. You will be great. So like I said, I kind of agree with some of his points, but I really disagree uh, with the points that I just laid out. I mean, I think the college game is good for these kids. I really, I don't like the one and done. I miss the days of guys staying 3 or 4 years because it made things much more exciting. I mean, when you knew, Ewing and the Hoya, Stacey King and the Sooners, are they going to get it done this year? Larry Johnson and UNLV Rebels, they come and just wipe out Duke, Grant Hill, and Leitner and Bobby Hurley in the finals, and then they're all coming back next year. So now it makes that exciting because like, are they gonna be able to do it again? So now it's nice to see just teams kind of come out of nowhere. The tournament is always exciting or whatever, but I kind of miss that star power that existed in the college game when guys were staying 3 or 4 years and you were seeing a consistency in the programs. So I miss that. But I do think that they need that college experience. Some guys are able to make the jump as we have seen, but I think overall, even those guys would have benefited from the college experience. So hey, that's just my 2 cents. And as always, God bless. Peace.